And all right, here we go. All right. Computer's moving kind of slow, guys. I apologize. But Grand Rising again, my fellow Eternals, fellow Elohim. Welcome to another sunny Sunday of the one great I am awakening. We are awakened beings, and we are, sharing what we have now come to understand or understand, as we like to say. All right. Today, I have a wonderful lineup for you, wonderful message, again from Never Goddard, titled The Power of No. And he's going to share a story with himself and Abdullah that demonstrates what that is or what it necessarily means about the power of no. Okay, so I'm Chris Taylor, one of your hosts, and I have alongside myself my co-host, partner in spirit, Sir T. Sir T, are you there, sir? Say Grand Rising to our panel, and we can get the show on the road, as we like to say. William there. All right. Sir T, ready. All right. Oh, there he goes. Oh, that's Lawrence here. Okay. But just want to welcome each and every one of you guys here again. I see 9 of us strong here at the moment. We should have some more people join us momentarily. We have, again, a wonderful setup for you guys to take notes and either physically or mentally. This is something that we have to come in agreement with and really understand the power of the moment, which is now, But we're going to go in depth some more using some testimonies, demonstrations, and whatnot. But Never has a very, very potent and interesting testimony that he, at the time, was not necessarily awakened, didn't know anything about the imagination, didn't know anything about your awareness, consciousness. It was something absolutely new to him. However, he was able to demonstrate the power nonetheless with the help of his teacher, Abdullah. Okay, so he didn't even know what he was doing. So you see, the power works even when you don't know that you have it or what the power is. But just by him being shown by his teacher, Abdullah, he was able to prove it to himself. Okay. We have changed course again, just to remind you on how we're going about this year's lessons. We're personalizing them, using them to be more practical, something to prove to ourselves our true state of being, okay, who we truly are. Once you prove it to yourself, then it doesn't matter what anyone else out there has to say, that it's a God in the sky or the devil or coincidences or luck, all these different terminologies that they would, throw out there to, I would guess, explain away a power that they don't understand, And so, though we understand that we are this power, we understand it even more when we use it, okay? When we practicalize it. And, we're able to, if we do it and others see it, then they will believe. There's a scripture where Christ said, I told you what I was going to do, just paraphrasing, so that when it does happen, that you might believe. Okay? So we're not necessarily telling anyone what we're going to do, but we tell with our actions. Okay? Actions speak louder than words. So that is you telling someone what you're going to do. When you've done it and you are not thanking a God in the sky or thanking some other power outside of yourself, you are aware and you have acknowledged that you are the one that had give it parentage. You caused it, you know. And so as you continue to demonstrate these things, you will, to use this term, be more faithful to your power. Uh, you won't cast any doubts. You won't ponder or wonder why this is not happening, why that's not happening. You will know that if something is not happening or coming to fruition, it is just you not using the power properly or correctly, or not being faithful, you know, and so on and so forth. So, we are just sharpening our irons, sharpening our tools, iron sharpen iron. So we're sharpening our tools to be more potent, going forward. From this day, from this year going forward, from this moment, track your, your success, or just see how you have been doing or how is it going. But over time, you will become so much more powerful, because the power is what it is, but it's, as I'm saying, applied knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, so they say, but when you apply it, that's when it really is power. And as you apply it and become successful, you become wise, or you gain wisdom, because you have now done it. So that's the whole series, purpose of this year's topics that we're doing. They're all personalized. They're all something to help us individually to become more aware, become more powerful than we don't even know that we can become. All right. So that being said, guys, let me jump into the video. It's a very short video of Neville and Abdullah explaining this power of now. All right. So let's share, and I'll be right back to talk more about it. Let's see, where are you? Here we are. So this is supposed to be Abdullah on the left, if you guys can see. And Abdullah, just give you a quick rundown of Abdullah. He's an Ethiopian mystic. He's from Ethiopia. Interestingly, I just met a guy 2 weeks ago who is from Ethiopia. It's the first person I've ever met who's from Ethiopia. So it's pretty interesting. So I'm kind of learning some Ethiopian history from him and whatnot. So young guy, young fella in his 30s, I believe. But nonetheless, first I'm meeting someone from Ethiopia. I'm going to see how much I can learn in regards to the culture and everything like that. But Neville knows is what you call it now. He became who he became after meeting Abdullah. All right, as you can see, they are opposite side of the color spectrum. Abdullah's black, Neville's white. But consciousness knows no boundaries, no frontier. Everyone is consciousness pushed out in different forms, color, shape, and whatnot. So let's take a listen to what Neville has to say about his friend, Abdullah. Be right back.
My old friend taught me that lesson vividly back in 1933. There was a deep depression in this land. Many of you are too young to remember it, but I am almost now 67. I went through the deep depression back in New York City. I was a dancer, and who would pay a dancer when they couldn't eat? All the theaters were closed. I don't think more than 3 theaters out of 50 were open in Times Square. So who wanted the dancer? I would have danced for anything, for a meal. And no one wanted to pay a dancer. So what would I do? I wanted to go to my little island called Barbados. And I had no money, but when I said no money, I mean no money. Not just a little bit, but none. I said to my friend Abdullah, Ab, I would love to go to Barbados. He said to me, you are in Barbados. I said, I am in Barbados? He said, yes, you are now in Barbados. I didn't quite understand what he was telling me. I learned it afterwards. He was telling me that if I want something, I must now, at that moment that I want it, assume that I have it. I want to go to Barbados. I am in Barbados. So this night when I sleep in Barbados. How? In my imagination. And how do I know I'm there? Think of New York City where physically I'm sleeping and see it to my north, 2,000 miles, northwest of where I am in Barbados. Well, the months went by and I didn't see any evidence. So I said to him, you know, Ab, if I don't make the next boat out, or no planes were flying, no commercial planes were flying in those days, I can't go to Barbados. He said to me, who said you are going to Barbados? You are in Barbados.
All right, let's pause it right there and just acknowledge something real quick. I don't know if it's me, but my tape is kind of pausing on my end. Are you guys hearing it clearly? It's kind of going in and out somewhat, but I am hearing what's being said. It's just pausing back and forth. All right, so you guys are hearing it just fine on your end. So maybe it's me. Maybe it's my internet and whatnot. But what I want you guys to highlight right here, prior to hearing this story, I heard this story from Neville from the very beginning of studying Neville Goddard, back in 2010. So this was something that I was privy to from early on when he talked about Abdullah. And, talking about he's in Barbados. So I at the time never understood what it was like to say that you're doing something when you're not doing it in real life as we know it. You're not actually doing it. But so this was foreign to me. How could I be doing something when I'm trying to get there? Never says I want to go to Barbados. Abdullah says you are in Barbados. Never says, how am I in Barbados when I'm here in New York City? That doesn't make any sense. So to the average individual, it doesn't make sense because we're so used to, we know we're here right now, and we have an idea of where we want to be, but we cannot fathom how is it that we're going to go to that place? No, we're always waiting to go somewhere. It's either we live in the past, or we we remember the past, or we think about the future, but we don't think about where we want to go, that we're there. No, we think about going there. We don't think that we are already there. We're always thinking about that we're going to go, or would love to go, or will go. So everything is about future tense. Never, or Abdullah, in this example, teaches that you should put yourself there. No, because when are you thinking of going there? Not tomorrow, not yesterday. You're thinking about going there? No. But you have to switch it up a bit. You have to think about already being there. No. And visualizing it, imagining it, seeing yourself experiencing the place right now. In other words, think from the end, from the very beginning. Think from the end. No. See yourself actually experiencing it. No. Think from the place. Think from being there. In other words, don't think of you taking the trip. Just think of you already in the place, in the area, or doing the thing, whatever it is. And whatever it is that you would be doing, do it now in your mind. You're doing it now in your mind. You are using your five senses. If you're to touch, say, the door of the hotel room, or the door of um, the house, or wherever you be residing at the time. If you're to pick up something that you would see yourself buying as a souvenir, all these different things. If you see yourself on the beach, sipping, coconut and rum, or playing in the sand or in the water, all these different things, you're supposed to vividly imagine yourself doing it now. Okay? Never like to use a sense of touch. Hold on to something, because touch is a sense that is like feeling. When you touch something, you're feeling it, and then you have the feeling of emotion, the inner touch, so to speak. So those two are related. One is inner and one is outer, but they do correlate. Never thinks that or says that when you use a sense of touch and hold on to something, in real life, you're holding on to something. You're touching the chair, or you're touching the steering wheel, or if it's heat, you're feeling the heat, whatnot, right? So to touch something is to be feeling something, the texture of it, the the temperature, whether it's warm, hot, or cold. You're gonna always know that you are in the presence of that thing. You can hear something, but you might be hearing voices for some people. All right. You can smell something, but you don't know what you're smelling, or what direction it's really coming from, or even what it is. You can see something and may not see it clearly, or you may be seeing, as they would say, doubles, maybe seeing an illusion. Um, or you can, in this case, hold on to something, feel it, and you know it's in your grasp. There's no, because it's closer to you. It's very close. You know it. It's not far from you, like when you see something, when you hear something, when you smell something, um, or even, with the next sense, taste something. You may not even know what you're tasting or what it's like. But when you hold on to something, All right. And so Neville says that sense right there is what you should probably use vividly when you're imagining. Feel yourself sitting in the chair. You know what a chair feels like. Feel yourself, putting on shoes, clothing, maybe an eyewear, something that really draws your imagination in and puts you there. When you garner that type of emotion or that type of sensory imagination, you have almost put yourself there in that place and space because you are closer to the thing when you touch it. Okay, so touch is a sense of feeling, and therefore, if you can touch it, you will garner the inner feeling even more that this is really happening. The joy of it is there. It's like when you drive a car, you feel the joy of actually driving your first car or your dream car. When you go into your dream house and you open the door and you touch the countertops of the tables and you touch the walls and you go in the bathroom and you touch the sink, the countertops, the bathtub. But you're feeling all these things. You know you're not dreaming. You know you're not imagining. You know that you're there. You're supposed to use your imagination similarly, and this draws into your being the actual thing that you're imagining even easier. And I have examples of that in another sense. Um, what we call dream building. Okay, so you have your imagination that you can use the sense of touch just by imagining. Dream building is more active or practical. That's you going to these places that you desire to experience. It might be you obviously cannot travel to a place you desire to experience physically until you travel there, but you can see something. Maybe it's a car, a house, maybe it's a job somewhere, or maybe it's a business that you want to start. You can actually go to these places and interact with them. And as you do, um, your sense of touch is engaged. I didn't understand that was the case, but it is. You want to buy a new car, you sit in the car, you touch it, you sit in the passenger seat or the driver's seat, you touch the steering wheel, you open the door. You're doing all these things. You're engaging your consciousness into thinking that um, you're actually experiencing this thing, and your consciousness then goes about its way to create the reality of you having it. So that's another way to do it, is to physically go out there and dream build. Um, the vision board that we mentioned a couple weeks ago is also another way to do it, but it's even more practical or personalized when you go out there and hold on to something that you desire to experience. Yes, sir, T. I see you got your hand raised. Go ahead, sir.
Opening mic. Yes, greetings. Good morning, everybody. Circus, just to enforce what you're saying about the act of feeling, the act of touching. When you touch something, when you feel it, and I'm talking physically feeling now, the sense of touch. When you feel something, nobody cannot convince you otherwise what you just touched. If a man is blind, let's say a man lived to the age 30 and then he loses sight completely. And if you put a baseball in his hand and ask him what he just put in his hand, he knows it's a baseball. He knows feel and knows it's a baseball. Different from if you take that baseball from him and put a tennis ball in his hand, he knows that's a tennis ball. And that's just by the sense of feel. You can't trick him, he knows. There's a saying that we go around and we say cliche. It's a very cliche saying, but it has a real true implication to it. You hear the saying that they say who feels it knows it. You ever hear it?
Wow.
It not only mean emotionally, when you feel something, you know it. So when you are imagining a thing and you get in physical contact with the thing and touch it, now you have known the thing. You know it. You come in contact with it for real. It's your sense, it's your imaginary sense of touch that brings you into physical contact. Because keep in mind that imagination is not a physical thing, it's a mental exercise. But the thing that you are trying to accomplish is a physical thing. So somewhere along the line, you have to bridge that gap. You have to make that transformation out of the mental into the physical because you're using mentality to bring forth physicality. Feeling, the sense of feeling, touching is where the gap, that's where you cross over. Who feels it knows it. That's why I never would implore you to capture the feeling, emotion we're talking now this time. Capture the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Because listen, when you feel an emotion, you can't deny that you feel the emotion. If you feel sad, you feel messed up in yourself, you feel sad. You could put on the prettiest face to the whole world, and the whole world think you're feeling confident and you're feeling good about you. And you can trick the whole world, but you can't trick yourself. You know you feel sad. You can never separate yourself from your feeling. How you feel emotionally, that's how you feel. So feeling in both spectrums, both physical and and emotional, feeling is the secret that bridges the gap. Get it, Circus?
Come on, wonderfully explained, certain. Correlated the
Yeah.
two, the emotional side and the physical side. Um, one is trying to create the other. The emotional side is trying to create the physical side because, mind over matter, mind becomes matter or creates the matter. So if you can garner the feeling of the wish fulfilled, listen to those words. The wish fulfilled. The wish is the desire. Fulfillment means it's already here. No. So you're garnering the emotions of having it no, not next week, next year, or whenever, as we were told to accept whenever God sees it fit. All these things we were conditioned to accept that we'll get what we get when God sees it fit. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Because not knowing that you are God, you are consciousness. If you don't see it fit, then you're not going to get it because you're waiting for this God in the sky to see when it's fit. You have to be the one doing it. Accept it. Okay? So that's a wonderful thing to know. Hard for some people to accept, but when it's in your hands, then who can stop you but you? All right. So, but as I was also saying that if it's hard for you to imagine and garner the feeling because it takes practice, you can do it another way, as I just explained and Sir T just explained, by if you are aware what something feels like, whether you're blind or you can see, whatever, you can go out there and touch that thing that you desire to experience. And it is what it's doing is giving your consciousness the program of what you're really truly desiring. And because your consciousness is the truest and only reality, because you are, when you feel something, you become emotional about it. You start to have a sense of gratitude or, thankful. You're in its presence. So all that stuff, it initiates the consciousness, the awareness to go about itself, however that is, and make that thing that you're emotionalizing now by way of touching something. It goes about itself and creates that reality. for you to actually have that experience every time. I did that, with my first house when I bought it. Went about my business, going into places, just having the experience. I don't own these places. I'm just there acting as if I do. It was something I learned in the 90s, late 90s, dream building. So I just put it to the test and it worked, you know. Same thing with my now barbershop. Did the exact same thing. Just went about touching the windows, the doors. Um, I would park my car in front of the building, taking pictures. That's kind of like creating a virtual vision board where whenever I look at my phone, I would see my car parked right in front of the building, and I would act as if that's my business with my car right in front of it. All these things I did, and it came to pass. So I know it works because I've done it and continue to do it. You know, but what we want to do is to even empower the imagination even more to where we can do it from a remote location without touching anything like Neville is demonstrating. No, he couldn't touch being in Barbados physically. So he had to garner the emotion of being in Barbados. Okay. So that's what we want to get good at. It's easier to go out and touch something if we have the time to do it and move around. But if we don't, how can we use our imagination to do these things and then watch it materialize in front of our eyes? That's what we're doing with these lessons as of late, is to sharpen our imagination. Nothing becomes better unless you use it. It's our potential until you use it. So that's what we're doing now. We want to become more engaged with our imagination on purpose, not just imagining vain things, but imagining the exact things that we desire to experience. All right, so let's go back to the tape and listen to what Neville actually had to do in order for him to end up in Barbados. Let's take a listen.
We can discuss how you're going to Barbados when you are already in Barbados. Then he walked straight to his room and slammed the door in my face, which was not an invitation to follow him. If you knew it.
I want to stop it there real quick. Neville said that Abdullah slammed the door in his face. Pretend to yourself that is you. The reason why Abdullah did that was because Neville was asking how. Asking how am I in Barbados when I'm here, or how am I going to get to Barbados when I don't have the money? That is really you imagining about something and you start to question yourself. So what you have to do is understand that is just the mind or the ego, the conscious mind that does not know how. Okay? And it's going to question how is it going to happen. You have to learn to shut it down right away. If you entertain it, you're going to kill your desire. That's what Abdullah did. 13.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the minute you start to question how it's going to happen, the minute you start questioning that, then the door of that opportunity has been slammed in your face. That door slammed tight, shut on you. The minute you will never get there if you're gonna question how you're gonna get there, how you're gonna accomplish this, then it means that you are not trusting in that all-knowing power. The all-knowing power knows how. You notice when he sat in New York and imagined himself in Barbados, he didn't have to question how to do that, how to stay in New York and imagine himself in Barbados. No, you could just go ahead and do it. So now you come back to reality and you're starting to wonder how you're gonna get there. How did you get there in your imagination? You just went there. You didn't pay any money. You didn't need any special contacts. You didn't need anything to simply imagine yourself there. That's exactly how the result will come forward. You don't have to know how. There is no wholeness to it. It's just a nowness to it. There's no wholeness. No.
I like
And
that, sir.
the minute you start to wonder how it's going to happen, door slam shut. And only you can reopen that door by going back in again and reimagine the whole thing and leave the wholeness out of it. Circus.
Lord have mercy. Don't worry about the wholeness. Right? Don't penetrate that. You know, just imagine that you are. And in a way that you don't know of, we'll show you the way. Never call that inspired action. You're going to have to do some action, you know, but it is inspired. It is not something that you make up or try. That's the conscious mind trying to do it, trying to force it, will it? No. Your consciousness will put you in motion. Okay? And it's called an inspired or intuition that you activate. And you just start doing stuff, or people start coming to you. You run into somebody, somebody run into you, whatever it is. And the moment you if you're not engaged with your consciousness, you will not know what's happening. But if you are, you will just watch it happening. I do it all the time. I just know when things are happening. I know what's going on. But you don't have to know. You will just act, and you will see your desire coming to fruition. All right, so let's continue. I just wanted to emphasize that moment with Neville and Abdullah.
That's how he taught me. I am asleep as though I am in Barbados. And when I went to bed, though in New York City, I had assumed that I am actually in Barbados and see New York City not under me, but to the north of me, 2,000 miles. And I woke within 48 hours after that moment, and under my door was a letter from my brother Victor. And in that letter, he enclosed a small little draft, $50. That I have told the steamship company, the Furnace Riddy Company, to issue you a ticket and charge it to me. The $50 is simply if you want some little thing, like a suit of clothes. In those days, you could buy a suit for $12, a fairly decent suit. You could buy a pair of shoes for $3.50 or $4. But he said the $50 just for anything you may need to get aboard the ship. But sign the chits, and I'll meet the ship and pay all expenses, and I will pay all the tips. So it's not for tips aboard the ship. I went down to the place and I told them what my letter said. I read my letter to them. They said, Mr. Goddard, we only have steerage from now on. But when we get to St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, you may have first class because someone disembarks in St. Thomas. I accepted it. I went back to my friend Abdullah and I told him, Ab, it worked. I'm going on the 6th of December, but I have to go steerage until we hit St. Thomas, and then we go first class to Barbados. You know what he said to me? He said, who is talking of going to Barbados? You have gone to Barbados and you went first class. Well, what are you going to do with a man like that? I went straight to the boat on the morning of the 6th, expecting I would go steerage to the Virgin Islands, when the man said to me, Mr. Goddard, we have a nice surprise for you. We had a cancellation. And so now you're going first class. He wasn't surprised. I wouldn't even call him to tell him, because he was not given that way. He was trying to teach me a lesson. You believe in God, believe in me also. Well, the one speaking is God. It's the God in you, your own wonderful human imagination. If you say, I believe in God, everyone here believes in God, but do you believe in your own wonderful human imagination as God? If the word God conveys the sense of an existent something outside of you, you have the wrong God. Because you are the temple of the living God. And the Spirit of God dwells in you. Well, if he is in me, find out who he is and where he is. Well, I have found him to be my own wonderful human imagination. That's the God in me. It's the God in you. And may I tell you, he cannot fail. He will not fail. But here on this level, we are the operant power when it comes to the law. When it comes to the promise, that is coming regardless of the life we live in this world. Whether I be rich or poor, be the judge or the one being judged, the murderer or the victim, regardless of what part I play in this world, the promise is not conditioned. It is unconditioned. God promised to redeem himself when he became man. So my fitness for the kingdom of God is not the condition when I make myself good. It is the consequence, not the condition of his choice when he called me into the kingdom. So let no one frighten you that you're doing things that's going to stop you from entering the kingdom. It is not conditioned by anything you do in this world. The only condition is on the law. I can say that if I go in a certain direction, I will not encounter certain things. If I dare to assume that I am what I want to be, and I am faithful to that assumption, it will come to pass. If I am not faithful to it, it will not come to pass. If I don't assume that I am it, it will not come to pass. So I am the operant power when it comes to the law. But when it comes to the promise, that is coming regardless of what you do or where you are or anything in this world. Everyone will be redeemed. But everyone. But here when it comes to the law, spend all your time while you are here, because the other is working, is coming. So while you are here, take the law and try to understand it and try to apply it wisely. Why not live well?
All right, so let's stop it right there real quick. Never cause your imagination the law. Consciousness, the law. Another word for the law is Lord. Everywhere you read in the Bible is always talking about the Lord, this and that, and the third. The Lord is a word used in Hebrew that means father. All right. So I like the word law because I think it's more understandable. Because when you use Lord, people think you're talking about some God in the sky somewhere, some omnipotent being separate and apart from you. But if you're told that you have this law within you, the law of mind, everybody has a mind and cannot deny it. So therefore, if you use your mind, never said to use it wisely. Okay? And this law is you. You're the operant power. What does that mean? You are the power that's being operated. Okay? You being the operant power or the power God is manifesting and bringing things into being. You have control of this power to use it wisely or unwisely. It is impartial, does not care how you use it. It just is what it is. So you have to be very mindful, being aware of what you say, be a conscious creator. That just means to be aware of what you're doing with the power, which is you, yourself. So when you're creating something, when you're desiring something, everything you do, the power is reacting to it. Your imagination is reacting to it. So don't desire something and then say, well, how is it going to happen? What you're doing there is you're taking a step forward and two steps backwards. Your imagination is picking up on that and is going to act accordingly. Because once you start to ask how, you have taken away the control from the imagination. You have taken away the control from the operant power. Because now you're saying, all right, since I don't know how it's going to happen, I'm going to try and figure it out. You're not supposed to know how. You're just supposed to know what you desire, why you desire it, garner the imaginative feeling of the wish fulfilled, and stay in that assumption and be patient. Go about your business, but just always stay faithful to the assumption that it has already happened and live in it, in the end of it. And one day, somehow, you will be inspired to act. Something will happen that will cause this the action you're so concerned about how it's going to happen. That will inspire you how how it's going to happen, and you will do it. Go ahead, Sir T.
Yes, sir, Chris. Yeah, as it relates to the reference of the power as being the law, that's exactly what we should see it as, because that's exactly what it is. The power is simply a law. Is that why? Is that what name the Muslim them? I wonder if that's why them call them God Allah. That's what God really is, Allah. That's what it is. That God is simply that, a law within you. Now, you are the operant power of that law. And I'm going to bring it all the way around to regular law judicial law that we see exercised every day in the system. The law that resides within you, that is there to complete all your ambitions, what complete you. That law remains inactive until you operate the law. You are the operant power to that law. Now, the law is impartial, as you said. The law will not operate itself, and I'm talking on the side of consciousness now. The law will not come to you and say, Laurencia, don't you want to elevate yourself out of this situation that you're in? Why don't you imagine yourself to be such, such, such? And imagine it by giving it all the depths of reality and all the tones of your sensations to make it real. And don't question it. And the law will never come to you and tell you to do it. If the law does that, then the law has lost its impartiality. The law simply is. It's not something that works. It's not that it works. The law no work. The law just is. Because if it don't work, it still is. Because it don't work because you don't work it. And when it does work, it's not like it works. It's you just operate the law. The law is simply that. Now, on the side of regular judicial law that we see here in this one, the law is there to prosecute and also to protect. The law is not just there to put you a person in. The law is there to also protect you from somebody harming you. But you have to operate the law. The law just can't come take you out of your house and put you a prison in. You have to operate the law or operate against the law for the law to punish you accordingly. Neither can the law come to you or your yard and tell us, say, yo, them people there would fire you from that job down yonder. That wasn't just what them do to you, you know. You can't come sue them and get the money. The law will not come to you and tell you that. But if you know that and you operate that, the law will reward you accordingly. The law simply is. It is impartial. It is absolutely impartial. Now, in the law of consciousness that we're talking about now, let's go back over there now. That law is there to reward you accordingly. And it is also there to, if you want to use the word punish, I don't like the word punish. But it's also there on that punitive side as well. The law will operate anywhere and it does not care. The law is not happy for you when you operate it and bring you your results. And the law is not sorry for you when you infringe upon the law and accomplish your results likewise. The law simply is totally impartial. The law does not care if it's because you're a child. The law is not gonna be lenient on your side. No, there's no form of clemency that the law will apply to you because of who you are. No, same thing. What you sow, what you reap. But you have to sow, because the law will not call you forward to and say, Mr. Farmer Man, there's a lot of rain falling, and this land look fertile, it has rested for a few years. Now it's fertile and plow the land and come plant some things. Like, the law cannot come to the farmer and tell him that. He has to operate the law. The law is my shepherd, I shall not want. That law is not a brother named Jesus, is not shepherd. No. That law is your shepherd that will ensure that you will never want. If you operate the law, that law will lead you to lie down in green pastures. That law, why when you read now the scriptures and you hear about a man named David, that he was a man of war. Now try to imagine that David is a man just like you. You've been a man or a woman long enough. When you talk of man, it's talk of man and woman. You've been a man long enough to understand how life works. So when David is a man of war and he said, though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. A host was considered anything above 1,000 soldiers. So what manner of man is this that 1,000 soldiers encamp against him and his heart shall not even fear? That's not a literal thing it's about. It's talking about you when you understand the law. And when you know that you have set up yourself under the guise of the law, you have done as the law prescribed that you shall do. No matter what, though a host is encamped against you, meaning although there are 1,000 possibilities or 1,000 impossibilities that stand between you and the accomplishment, your heart shall not fear. You see how that makes sense now? Yeah. There is no man on this earth who is so faithful and so brave and so strong that 1,000 soldiers can about that door waiting on him by himself and his heart does not fear. That wouldn't make no sense. That's not possible. Fairy tale that. But in the reality that we exist, when you know what the law is, and you know that you are on the side of the law. Like what we know. Sir Chris, if them shoot up over the mall, let's say them, I don't like using terminology, but yeah, that we are talking. Let's say something happen, drastic, them big old mass shooting, whatever happened. And I knew I did that in my yard when that happened. If I know I was at my house when time that happened, and me know me have nothing to do with that. Nobody for me, and I was home, but me send some man go do it me. I am totally absolved from that situation when I have nothing to do with it. And the police come knock at my door, 1,000 of them, and come questioning me, say, I'm me, that. My heart shall not fear, because the law is my shepherd. I know I never do nothing. I know I'm on the side of the law. I don't care what the 1,000 now want to say. I know I wasn't there. I have absolutely nothing to do with that. My heart shall not fear. It makes sense now?
Makes sense.
Is that here? Yeah, man, exactly. That's what I see.
Yeah, and glad you explained that, Certi, in that format, in that sense. More practical, more applicable. It's not fairy tale-ish. It's real life, something that you can use now and not only apply to some guy named David. You understand? It is something that is always in you, and you are operating this power. You are being this power. And you're warned, to use the power wisely. Do not use it vainly, because you will not be held guiltless, okay, in how you use it. Because the law has within its own consequences or results from using it improperly. All right. So that being said, let's address one more thing with Neville. He said that he didn't go through the entire tape there as he did in others, but to clarify some things, he said that when he went to Abdullah and told Abdullah that he got the ticket to go to Barbados, and now he was excited that it worked, and he told Abdullah. Abdullah was not happy, as Neville was happy, because Abdullah told him, you went to Barbados first class. Notice that Abdullah didn't say you are going first class. He kept on using past tense, like you are already there, and you are there now, So if you're here now and you already went somewhere in mind, you're supposed to see yourself already there, already experiencing it. Your conscious mind will fool you, because you're conscious of where you are. So that's the tug of war between you and your conscious mind. Because the subconscious mind is the mind of no, okay? It doesn't care about yesterday or tomorrow. Everything is no in your subconscious. Everything exists. Your conscious mind has been given the ability to differentiate, to remember the past, think about the future, and also think about right now. But it's in conflict. Notice that no is in the middle. Yesterday, today, or no, or tomorrow, or future. Okay? No is always in the middle. All right? Meaning that it is centered and pulling everything towards it. You're pulling either the past towards you right now by foolishly remembering nonsense, bad things that happened to you in the past. This is why it is repeated, because you're pulling that thing in towards you, which is in the center. No. You're also pulling the future towards you. No. Okay? So this is why it's important to stay in the know, because you're always pulling everything towards you right now. And if you associate, as Certainty wrote in the chat, let me read it so I can highlight what he said here. Wait there. Give me a second, guys, because I don't want to miss this part. He says, yes, you have to let here which is now, become there. And let then become now. Okay? So you have to let where you are right here become where you desire to be. So let the present moment that you're in now, where you're sitting at or laying at, where whatever, put yourself where you desire to be in the right now in this moment. And then let there or then become where you are right now. Let it be your dwelling place in your consciousness. Dwell there. And don't worry about how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen or even if. Don't even use that word, if. Because once you use that word, it's over with. You have just canceled your desire. Okay? Doubt and fear are not two things you're supposed to even acknowledge when you design anything. Those two things, doubt and fear. You understand? They are two thieves that will rob you of the moment right now. What you sir say?
Yeah, man. You see, when the scripture tells us that surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Who are them two guys? Goodness and mercy. Who are them? There are two guys named goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. You know what them goodness and mercy is? Just them two words, you know, that same text where you just read a while ago, them two last words. Goodness and mercy, here and now. Those two guys shall follow you all the days of your life. Wherever you find you put yourself here and now, it will always have to manifest because those are present tense things. Now watch it. There are two thieves that rob you. The two thieves that rob you are two thieves named if and but. The other name for them is fear and doubt. Fear and doubt, yeah man, are them same two guys named if and but. And those are your robbers. And you have goodness and mercy that will follow you. That's a thing called here and now. Will follow you all the days of your life. Fear not. It no matter what the situation is. If you can let your desires become here that you are right now, and you don't put it off into a future occurrence, you make it be now. And I'm talking deep within yourself to the point where you feel it. When you feel it, you feel it, you know. How you think the earth brings forth a seed? The earth cannot see the seed to know it can't see. The earth does not, it cannot see it to know that it's supposed to bring forth a can't star out of the seed. The earth cannot see. The earth is blind. The earth feels the seed and feel it and say, this feel like a can grain. So I go send forward a can tree. And you drop a peas grain and feel it just the same. And you drop another one, you ever plant something else and you don't see it coming on at all. It not grow, it doesn't grow into neither the right or the wrong tree. It doesn't grow at all. You plant it and it doesn't grow because the earth didn't feel it at all. So you don't know what to bring, so it brings nothing. So if you are wishy-washy and the subconscious cannot feel you can't decide, you're too all over the place. Too if and but. If you are too if and but and the consciousness can't feel it, so it doesn't know what to bring, so it brings nothing. Because in that moment that you're ifing and butting, you're being nothing, you're in between. So you are being nothing, so the consciousness sees you as nothing, it brings you nothing. But if you are dead on what you are, here and now, the consciousness not doubt what it is. It feels you just like how it feels like angry and I know if your fuck is a angry, so it's send on a country. It is as simple as that. It is as simple and it plays out in front of our eyes. Every single day we see it, we can't deny it. How things grow up in other earth. Feel the earth, feel the sea, and send it. Can't see it or hear it. The only thing the earth can do is feel. So it is, and every man has. See, that's where the vineyard man that grows all things into your existence, into your experience. It's that vineyard. It's that vineyard within your mind. That's where all the cultivation is taking place. And you, sir, you, ma'am, you are the farmer. You are the upfront power. Think it not when a tree grow in your garden. Say, the girl will want your husband plant it there. Or your neighbor who is envious. No, you plant it. That man have him one garden to plant and he can't come across your garden. You plant it. And you plant it by, you might not be the one that physically plants it, but if you allow it, if it falls into your field, which is your mind, consciousness, your spectrum of thoughts, if it falls in there and you welcome it and allow it, though you're not the one who planted it, you are the one who nurtured it. Guilty by association. The earth are going to bring it forward. The earth is going to bring it forward. So these are things that when you become aware of them things, it make you lose blame. You don't try to put blame on anything or anyone for anything. Neither do you ascribe praise to anyone. No, if you're gonna praise anything, praise the law, not the Lord. It is the law that does everything. The law is my shepherd, your shepherd. That makes you the line that going past us. So, Chris.
One, green pastures are all your desires, you know, whatever it is, that is a green pasture that you have encountered or have accomplished. And I'm reading something here about the Bible passage, 2 Corinthians 6, verse 2, that says, "Behold, now is the accepted time." Okay, another word for accept, as we're saying, is the appointed time. Now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Salvation is not when Jesus come back to save you, okay? Or going to heaven. The word salvation is synonymous with the word Jesus, which means Jehovah saves, or Jehovah is salvation. Who is Jehovah? Your awareness. There is no God whose name is Jehovah. This is all just man's imagination using something to pinpoint what they're trying to explain. But your salvation is your consciousness. And anything that you desire is already in the consciousness. That's what's coming to save you. That's what is the what you should behold. And when should you behold it? Right now. To behold something means to see it. And to see it doesn't mean with your eyes. It means with your eye, your imagination, your third eye, your inner self, to see clearly right now what you desire to experience. Not you, sir, T?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So, as you said at the beginning of your statement, the awareness, your consciousness is there is nothing that supersedes. There's nothing that could be above your awareness, your consciousness. There could not be a God above that. And it's a very simple understanding when you understand it. Watch it. If there was something that exists called a God that is independent of you and your awareness and your consciousness, if you are not aware of that thing, does it exist? In your world, does it exist? If you are not aware of it, or let's say nobody's aware of it, does it exist? cannot exist. It needs a witness. For anything to exist, there must be a witness to it. Something has to be aware of it. So if there is no awareness to it, it does not exist. Now, can you be aware? Can you have your awareness within you without being aware of that God? Sure, you can. You can be aware of a million things and not be aware of that God. And your awareness is still functioning. So your awareness can function without that God. Your awareness exists without that God, but that God cannot exist without your awareness. Without you being aware of it, it does not exist. Without you being aware of it, it does not exist. There must be a witness to it. So your awareness, the field, the world of awareness, because the way I see it, Circus, awareness is not an individual thing. Consciousness is not an individual thing. My consciousness is not any different from your consciousness. It's not any different, you know. The world of consciousness is is the Father's house that has many mansions. Everything is in there. The world of consciousness allows me to be aware of this, that. You in the world of consciousness are aware of that, and whatever you are aware of becomes physical in your world, and what I'm aware of becomes physical in my world. And what is existing in my world today can come exist in your world tomorrow, and what's in your world can become my world tomorrow. The possibilities is endless in the world of awareness. In the world of awareness, everything is possible. That's where all things are possible. Not in physically. All things are not physically possible in the world that we live. In the world that we live, nobody fool you. No man can walk on the water. Cannot do it. You know what is from your read about that one brother, I remember read about that one guy when we walk on the water. You notice one then until now, neither you nor nobody else from then until now has ever seen anybody do it. Look how many people in our world now, 9 billion now, and nobody can do it. You say can't do. We have seen men do some strange things, but you've not seen anybody walk on water. No, because you know why you haven't seen anybody do it? Because it cannot be done. It is lawfully impossible. You know what is how impossible it is? Lawfully impossible. There is a law against it. The law of density. Your body is just too dense with the water, you will sink. No, keep in mind, you know, you can lay down on the water. It's called swimming. Because the cross section of your body has now been broadened.
Yeah. Like a ship.
That's how I say. The cross section of your body has now been broadened. So you know the volume, the formula to work out the volume of something is it's worked out in cubes.
Yeah, you still have to apply a different law though.
Correct. It's three-dimensional. It's three-dimensional then out. But you see, when you stand on the water, the cross-sectional area of your body, your 2 feet standing, and it doesn't matter how far apart you widen your foot them, the cross-section of your toe, it's just not gonna allow for you to stand up in the water. It's not possible. You notice how close you've seen people come. You've seen a man swim in the water, but you've never seen a man walk in it. No matter how great the swimmer is, Michael Phelps cannot walk in the water. Because there's a law against it. It's simple. We not have to trick ourselves into believing something where you know say can't happen. Everybody knows that you can't walk on the water.
You cannot turn water into wine either.
You can't turn water into how you going to do it? How you going to tell me you're going to do that?
And some wine twist.
Listen, even if you use the law, which is the law of imagination that we're talking about, and you have water, and you imagine that that water is going to be wine, some man might miraculously just show up within 30 seconds and bring you a bottle of wine, but that water on the table will never turn wine. We don't have to trick ourselves. We know this. The wine will come by a means that you know not of. That's why in the law of imagination, I tell you, don't question how. You don't know how. But some way, somehow, someone will show up with a bottle of wine. But the wine, the water on the table will not turn into wine, my friend.
Not gonna happen, certain. Perish that thought, as you like to say. Um, to operate the law is the only place you can do these things is in your imagination. That's it. Walking on water is easy in your imagination. You understand? That's the only place it happens. That is the real world. The imagination is it, but when it's displaying itself here, it has to operate under some other laws that this 3D world governs. Imagination could not go until it cannot supersede the laws that govern this world. And these laws exist so that we can function in this world properly. Without gravity, we would fly off into space.
That's why scripture says the Lord cannot lie. The Lord, it is the law that cannot lie. The law cannot function outside of legality. The law has to remain lawful. So the law, which is our shepherd, has to remain within the parameters of law. It cannot breach law over here to bring forth law over there. No, it's all gonna happen in a natural way, not supernatural. That supernatural happening that you read in the Bible, nothing can go so. It's all gonna happen in a natural way. Like I tell you, that bottle of wine is gonna come in a natural way. The never always say it's gonna come to you so easy that you're gonna think even if you never operate the lie, it would have happened anyway. That's how natural it's going to happen.
From the sky, I'll tell you that.
Exactly.
Somebody has to bring it.
Yes, it's gonna happen in a very natural way. Not no a magic something, brother. No. No.
Nothing like that.
No. In this existence that we are right now, nothing is supernatural. You hear me say? In this existence that we live and experience right now, nothing is supernatural. Everything is natural. Meaning, if it happened once, it can happen again. It's natural. You notice now the things where you read in the Bible, you read of them things that happen once, and now you can't see that again. No man no come out of a grave after being in the flood. No, them supernatural things does not happen here.
Oh, Lazarus.
No, you're in your dream, which is another world where you're there. And when you go to sleep and you're in your dream, you notice how some unnatural things can happen over there. So. And it feels so natural when you're dreaming it, even though it's very unnatural. And you're very unnatural in your dream. You know, dream all kind of things, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In that world, I'm breaking the law over there, so it's a different world. But here in this world, none of them stuff they can happen. Everything that has to happen here has to happen naturally because this is a natural world. And don't trick yourself into no people that about the spiritual world. And if there's a spiritual world, you're not there. A natural world you're living in. Natural world. And there's only one thing you have to, that can translate your back and forth from this natural world into another world. One more thing. And it is the switching of conscious and subconscious mind. That's the only thing. Yeah. Which is imagination, or if you want to call it, when you fall asleep, you switch from your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. And a lot of things happen over there because you're in a different world. You operate, you switch minds. And when you imagine, that's exactly what you do. You switch minds. That's the only way you can breach. That's the only way that to transcend this natural world where you're in. Yeah, otherwise, from that everything natural. The only way to get out of here is by translating your mind from conscious mind to subconscious mind. Whether it happens when you fall asleep, because when you fall asleep, and your mind has transferred over from natural, which is conscious mind, to your subconscious mind. And that translation happens involuntarily. I know you would decide to switch minds. You fall asleep and you have no choice. Your mind switch and you start dreaming, all kind of things. And you cannot, over there, you have no choice. You can't decide what you're gonna dream. Once you fall asleep, you dream anything because now you're in my father's house with a million mansions. All of them possible when you go into that world. It's the same thing when you imagine. When you imagine, now you're transferring your mind voluntarily. You are the one who is voluntarily transferring your mind, and it takes work. It takes work. Because to transfer your conscious mind into your subconscious mind first, you're gonna have to steal that conscious mind. That conscious mind is very busy, always thinking something, all kind of things running through that conscious mind. Before you can transfer that conscious mind voluntarily while you're wide awake, before you can transfer that mind into your subconscious mind where you're gonna go to imagine, you have to first stop that traffic. It would be like you're looking at the freeway traffic, a fly left, right, and saying that traffic does a fly, and you want to cross that freeway. You're gonna have to get that traffic to stop before you can cross over.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. When you're going into the world of imagination, you have to get the traffic to stop. And it takes some work to still your mind. There are some ways that help you to you slow your mind down, slow it down, and you stop. In other words, your mind is always over there thinking about five, six, a lot of things thinking about. So you focus in and you start to think about three things. And then it becomes easier for you to do that. You start to think, try to think about, just keep your thoughts on three things, and then you slow down to two things. And then you're focusing on one thing, and your mind is still. Because the minute you're focusing on only one thing, before long, you're going to be thinking of nothing, no thing. And when you're thinking of no thing, that means your conscious mind is still. It is as still as it is when you fall asleep, circus. This conscious mind, busy mind that thinks all kind of foolishness all day long. The minute you fall asleep, that conscious mind shut off completely. Still,
Yes.
be still, says the psalm, and know that who is God. I am God. When the mind is still, when the traffic is fully slowed down, like when you fall asleep, mind is perfectly still. Be still and know that I am God. When your mind is still, you are God. You notice when you fall asleep, you are complete God. The sleeping man is God. If I should borrow the term God, because the sleeping man can do anything and he can't dead. The sleeping man cannot die. You notice now the world of the sleeping man, him over there talk to dead people all day long. He's talking to people that you know died. People were there, you got them funeral. You over there, see them and him talk to them. Nobody not dead over there. So. The sleeping man cannot die. The sleeping man can accomplish anything, meaning in your dream, you can dream as lavish as Elon Musk. You can be Elon Musk in your dream, where you are the king of the world, you own everything. And you can also find yourself in the dungeon in your sleep. You can have the most horrible dream, then call it nightmare. Everything exists over there. But nothing over there can conquer you. Circus.
Yeah, man, that was brilliant. They articulated certain so much power in those words. And like what you said there, the sleeping man is the truest form of being God, because you have shut down the conscious mind, which is a form of meditation when you sleep, because you're not thinking anymore. No more thoughts. You're taking no thoughts, and you're just being pure awareness, you know, and you go off into a different world and you lose the conscious control. You know, it's like these days you have the self-driving cars. You don't have the conscious to do it anymore. You just turn it over to the computer and it does it for you. You no longer have the control until you wake up or decides to take back the control and have a conscious experience. You know, so very, very interesting reality. to acknowledge and to ponder how the mind works, living in two different worlds at the same time.
Sir
Imagine.
Chris, hold
Yes,
on,
sir.
just to reiterate something. You notice when you go to sleep and you get into that other world, you are still in contact with this world via your body. You left something over here on this side to mark your territory so that you can come back. It is your body. You left your body over here when you go to sleep. Your mind goes over there. The still mind, your mind becomes still, and it now roams over in that other existence of where all things are possible. And you left your body over here. When you are dreaming, the body that you see yourself in, that body is not real. You assume a body over there, and the body can look all kind of weird. You go over there, you dreams yourself when you're just 7. Your dreams yourself looking all kind of weird. Because that's an assumed body. It's not real. For sure that body is not real. The real body is still asleep on the bed. Your real body is still asleep on the bed. That body over there is not real. Watch it now. You will notice that if you in your dream, if you let's say you're getting into a fight with somebody and you punch that person, you don't feel the punch connect at all. And if you do feel the punch connect, meaning your body that's on the bed happens to swing its hand and it connects, you're gonna wake up. You come out of that world immediately because your body has now been activated. You have to leave your body, you have to leave your body completely when you enter the other world. Now watch it. When you go to imagine, this is when you voluntarily enter that world. Because that's what you do when you're imagining. You voluntarily enter that world while you're still wide awake.
Yeah.
You have to get to the point so relaxed where you have lost your body. You still have to leave your body over here. So the body that you're gonna take over into the world of imagination is an assumed body. It's an assumed body, just like the body that you wear when you're dreaming. Your real body is still on the bed. Your real body is still making contact with this natural world. Because remember, you're just stealing your way into the other world. You're just tricking your way into the other world. Your body remains in this world as a point of contact for you to re-enter. And all the scripture says, Sir Chris, that where I am, there you shall be also.
Yes.
You know that scripture? Right. In my father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go. That is when you go. You leave your body and go to prepare a place for you. And if I go, I will come again. That's why you come again. You notice come again mean that you were there before. I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you will be also. That's how what you went over there and created in that world of creation. That's how it knows its rightful owner. When it comes into manifestation, it knows its right parent. You are the one that gave it human parenting. That's how it knows who to come to. Because you had left your natural body as a point of contact. When so it's this natural body that is gonna come experience it now. So you have to just like how your body is inactivated when you fall asleep and you're dreaming. When you go into imagination, you have to get to the point where your body is inactivated. You're not feeling your body. You're so deep. We do it all the time in a circus. You ever watch a game yet? You watch game 7 of the NBA finals. 30 seconds left. Last play of the game. And you're so focused in on the game that if Nikki walk by you and if she touch you and try to get your attention, you're not even feeling.
I'm in the game
You, does it happen to you like that?
all the time.
Where you're so lost in, you're not at that game, you're not even in this, that's just the TV you're there in front of. And you're so into it. It's like you're watching a movie and the final climax of the movie is about to come and you've been anticipating this and you're so into the movie that you left your body completely. That's how you have to go when you imagine. You have to go deep in, like when you get to the final plot of a movie and you're totally engaged in it. Last playing at the sport game that you're watching the 100 meters finals, and the sprinters are neck and neck coming down to the finish line, and you're so into the thing that you're nothing around you doesn't exist. You've left the room like Elvis.
I've left the room.
Yeah.
Just like that, you know. So many different levels to our layers, you know, to peel away on this consciousness and expose, you know, its powers and whatnot. So very deep conversation today with what we're discussing, the power of now. What has the power? The only thing that has the power is right now. That's what that means. The only thing that has any power is right now. Not the future, not the past, right now. Because anytime you're thinking, imagining, contemplating, meditating, whatever it is, you are always doing it right now. You're centered in your awareness. But do not mistake that if you're thinking something now, that is not happening. It's happening right now as you're thinking it. And then it will be broadcast or displayed on the screen of space, you know, in some time, you know, afterwards. So whatever you're doing now, thinking now, imagining now, you're creating it. You have created it right now. You haven't done it in the future. It's done right now. What you experience in the future, so to speak, is what was done. So you see, that's why the power is always in the now. Because for you to experience something then, it must first be done now. For you to experience something over there, it must first be done now. That's how it works. All the power is in the nowness. Okay? Right now. That's where the power lies. And that's what we're sharpening, is our state of being in the now. And accepting, as the scripture says, that this is the appointed time. The appointment is made right now. You know, when someone makes an appointment to come get a haircut, they don't make the appointment when they get to the shop. They made it at the time that they decided they needed the haircut. It was done right there and then. And then the time will present itself for the experience. But you have to create it at the present moment that you think of it. And we're always doing it, not realizing that everything we experience was something that was already done in mind. Not some random unlucky or lucky or right place or wrong place at the right time or at the wrong time, as we would say. Everything is done at the moment you were present with that thought. And then it is experience in the future, you know. But everything happens right now as you're centered. Okay, so we just want you guys to be very aware of that and understand that is how it works. Okay. As we're here speaking, let's finish up the last few minutes of the tape, and then we're gonna come back and do some reflections and close out our lesson for today. But it's been wonderful so far. Let's play the rest, and we'll be right back to close out.
Why not live graciously? Why not be a kind person, a generous person in the world? Why not be a gentleman? Why not be a lady? These are tremendous accomplishments for man and for woman in this world. So I say to everyone, while you are here, find out what the law is all about. Because you can't deceive yourself, because the law will not allow you to. As you reap the things in this world, you may deny that you planted them. But it couldn't happen by accident. So be not deceived, God is not mocked. For as a man sows, so shall he reap. And he's reaping everything morning, noon, and night. I may not remember my sowing and deny the harvest that is mine, but it's there and I've got to accept it. Let me now try to remember, when did I plant this? Maybe I can't bring it back. We have very short and faulty memories, and I can't quite remember when I planted that seed. Why, the morning's paper, as you read these horrible stories, would tell you when you planted it. You do not know the characters spoken of in the paper, yet you react. And that reaction was in itself the planting of the seed. You pass judgment on those that you read about. You read a gossip of the paper and you're passing judgment. And all of your imaginary reactions are planting seeds. Instead of spending your wonderful time and investing it by, say, reading the Bible or reading a poem, read something that is altogether lovely, we spend our time on the paper or the radio bulletin or the TV, and all day long we're simply putting into our mind ideas that must come to harvest. And when they come, we deny that we planted them. But here, on this principle of the law, you can be what you want to be in this world. I don't care what the world will tell you. You can start from scratch. And if you dare to assume that you are wanted in this world, you will be wanted. I am not a member of any club in the land. And yet, here I am an American citizen today by adoption. And yet, wonderful men and women in this land have never been allowed to enter certain clubs. I'm speaking of clubs I know well back in New York City. And yet, I, a stranger, have gone as an honored guest to almost every one of them. Because I never barred myself. It never occurred to me that I didn't have all the qualifications to enter as a guest. I have no desire to become a member. None. Yet I have gone to all of these clubs as a guest of those who were members. They came to my meeting and asked me for dinner, and they took me to the club, or asked me for some other purpose to go to the club. So not a thing in me allowed me to be barred, because I didn't bar myself. You can go any place in this world if you don't put these barriers on yourself. It's entirely up to you. God in you is your own wonderful being called your human imagination. In the 4 weeks that I'm gone, practice it morning, noon, and night. And long before the 4 weeks, you should show the fruit. I'm serious about it. You shall bear the fruit of planting now. Not everything takes a month. Not everything takes a year to grow. Some things come up overnight. And you can plant it now, this very moment, by daring to believe that you are what at the moment reason denies and your senses deny. And actually feeling. Give it the tones of reality. And then drop it. You don't pick it up tomorrow morning to see if it's growing. You accept it. And in its own good time, it comes to fruition in your world.
All right, guys, that is the end of the tape, the audio. Brilliantly done by Neville, explaining the power of now with his own testimony, own actual events, with him having been in America for a very long time, had not gone back to Barbados. I think he said was 12 years, interestingly. I believe he said it was. Maybe not on this tape, but on other tapes. I think he mentioned it was quite some time that he had not gone back to Barbados. He had no urge to travel to Barbados since he came to the States, but something came over him to wanting to go back to Barbados, and that's when he approached Abdullah and told Abdullah, "Hey, Abdullah, I just had this sudden urge of wanting to go back to Barbados. I don't know what came over me." So he said, "But I don't have the money, and but I do want to go to Barbados." And Abdullah said, "You are not going to Barbados. You are in Barbados." Okay. I never followed that teaching, that thread, though he hesitantly, because he didn't really subscribe to what Abdullah was teaching or saying. He thought it was kind of somewhat foolish, but Abdullah guided him the right way, led him to use his imagination um, in the right and accurate way by thinking accurately and accepting that it is so. And in due time, as you heard it played out, he got a letter from his brother that he needs to come to Barbados. They're having a family reunion of some sort, and they need him to be there. And in a matter of time, he was in Barbados, and he went there first class. He didn't care how he got there, but I think Abdullah wanted to show him how powerful his imagination is, that he can do something that he never did not think was even possible. First, he didn't think it was possible to ever go back to Barbados because he didn't have the money. And secondly, you're going to go to Barbados, but you're going to go first class? How is that even possible? I don't have the money, but I'm going to go first class. So, what's his name? Abdullah threw something even more, difficult for Neville to grasp and to even accept. But he did that just to show him how it doesn't matter what you consciously think or believe is impossible. Your imagination does not care about the impossibility. It's going to figure out the way once you put it to the test. Okay? And so Neville did that, and he actually went there first class, even though at first he was told he was going to go partially first class because he had to go there third class first, and then when somebody get off, he would get on there into the first class. And Abdullah told him, "Nope, you went the entire way first class." Notice that Abdullah was talking to Neville weeks before this happened, but it happened exactly how they spoke about it weeks later. So there you see, everything is always happening in the present. No, okay? Whether you're conscious of your experience or what you're going to experience, it all happened in a time of knownness. You don't film a movie at the theater. You film it prior to that, in a time when it was present. And then you show what you had filmed. You can't change it at that time. You cannot edit it at that time. It's already on film. So whatever is on there is on there. Okay? So your imagination works the same way, or what you have imagined, or what you're imagining now. It is always happening right now. And if you're not careful, you will imagine a bunch of nonsense, rubbish, like Never just said on the ending of the tape, that when you're watching the movie, I mean the news or reading the newspaper, you get lost in thoughts and you start to imagine foolishness. You start to take on the emotions of what you're reading. And what will happen is you may not experience exactly what you have read, but you will experience something that is equivalent, which is the feeling. So whatever feeling you had garnered at the time of reading about the the news and whatnot, that will be something that you will feel or experience in the future. So that's why scripture tells you to not take the Lord's name, thy God, which is your imagination, your awareness. Do not take it in vain. It is not to say the name Jesus Christ. Perish that thought. Okay? That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about whatever it is that you have consciously or unconsciously felt the mood towards, what you have given your attention to, and with energy, with emotions, whatever it is that you have, because name means nature. So whatever it is you have made, natural to you with the feeling, okay, it will be fulfilled, and it will not hold you guiltless, meaning that it will not say, well, it's because it's such and such. It's because it's so and so. I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to appear. It doesn't work like that. It must go to the one that initiated the feeling. And so that's why you have to be careful when you're reading the news. You are planting seeds, as Never said. You are planting seeds into the garden of your awareness. Okay? These seeds are going to ripen, they're going to flower. It may not be no, but there is going to be a specific hour when it will manifest or show up. Okay? But notice you're doing everything no. And it shows up later. But everything is in the power of no. We have to learn the power of no, and that no is the only appointed time,
I'm not in another nation then.
not tomorrow,
Okay.
not yesterday, not next week, not next year. All the power lies in no, because you can only create no. You cannot create tomorrow, yesterday, all that stuff. Everything you're doing is right now. You are centered. Remember in the scripture where it says Jesus was crucified between two thieves. You can look at look at those two thieves as the past and the future. You understand? We get caught up in, well, what happened in the past wasn't good, and we're not certain about the future because the future is not promised, and all this foolishness we were taught. So the past robs you because you are afraid. You remember your failures, and you are scared of the future because it's not known. It's unknown. Those are the two things that rob you of your present moment. Okay? And in those two things robbing you, you're still creating presently right now. And whatever you created, doubt and fear, if and buts, how and when, is going to show up in some time. Right, Sir T?
Boy, I love the way you balance it with everything else, and you're perfectly right. See the Jesus on the cross, which is the Savior. The Savior, your Savior is here and now. You can only save yourself by what you're doing here and now. The thief on the left, which represents the past, is your if and your but that was robbing you. And the thief on the right, which is the savior, which is the future, which represents the future. The thief on is your how and your when. Your how and your when. That's that thief that's on the right to you know, that will rob you. So the one on the left is your if and your but. The one on your right is your how and your when. And them thing they rob you. And your savior in the middle is your here and your now. Deal with everything here and now. Don't if and but about it and don't wonder how and when. Don't if and but about it and don't wonder if and but is thief number one, how and when is thief number two. The savior in the middle is here and now.
Bertie, I'm gonna write that one there. Yeah.
Boy, I don't even know if I can remember if you say it again.
Oh my.
It just flew. It just somewhere flew natural when.
That was brilliant. So the thief on the left is your if and your but, the past. The thief on the right is your how and when is it going to happen? Because you're thinking about the future, how is it going to happen? When? How? Where? At what time? So all these things are robbing you. And your present is the here and now. And that's all you have. But the here and now will create what you experience then. And what you experience then will become the past.
Exactly. And that's the power of the here and now. You see, the here and now absolves you of everything you did in the past, all of the negative if and buts that you did in the past. Here and now, it doesn't matter. Them if and buts the way you did in the past. At this moment, now, it doesn't matter. So it absolves you of that. And it also, when you remain in the here and now, it also absolves you of the other thief, which is the how and the when. If you can remain here and now, present, that's what saves you. Watch it. You see the scripture you mentioned earlier that said, thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain.
Second Corinthians.
Yeah, thou shalt not take the
No.
Lord's
Second
nature.
Corinthians. Yeah.
Huh? Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
that's yeah, go
thou
ahead,
shalt
sister.
not take thou shalt not take the Lord's nature. That's the Lord's name, the Lord's nature. Don't take the Lord's nature in vain for granted, because the Lord's nature is sow and reap. And do not take it for granted. What you sow is what you, that's why it says, be not deceived. The law is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, that you shall reap. That's what the whole scripture says. But the do not take it for granted is not a command, And I tell you, I said, do not take it for granted. It I tell you, I said, thou canst not take it for granted. It's not a warning. I tell you, I said, don't take it for no. It I tell you that you cannot take the Lord's name in vain. You cannot take the Lord's name in vain. You cannot plant and not reap. If you plant, you will reap. So it's not telling you that it's not a little warning sign saying thou shalt not do it. It's telling you that you cannot do it. If you're so if you're so positive, you're gonna get positive. And if you're so negative, you're gonna get negative. And you cannot break that law. So you cannot take the Lord's name in vain. You cannot take the Lord's nature in vain. You cannot use the law and alter its nature. The nature of the law will always be, because the nature of the law is a present tense thing. I am. That's why the nature of the law, the Lord's name is I am. Is a present tense thing. The nature of the law, you cannot. It's not that thou shalt not. It's thou canst not.
Mhm.
So be aware of that. It's not a warning sign where you can be a play with and have wonder if you no, it already telling your plane that you cannot break that law. It's not that thou shalt not break it, you cannot break it. And I'm going to tell you what. So it is with all laws. Any law that you can break is not a law. If it was a law, you couldn't break it. If you can break it, well, it's a rule. But it's not a law. If it was a law, you couldn't break. If it was a law, you couldn't break it. You can't break laws. The law of gravity, you cannot break it. It's not that thou shalt not break the law of gravity. You cannot break it. Forget what thou shalt or shalt not do. Thou can't not do it. That's how it is with all laws. You cannot break a law. If you break it, then it wasn't a law, it was a rule. It was something that somebody said you're not to do. None of nature say you can't do it. When nature say you can't do it, you cannot do it. Nature is not gonna stick around every day reminding you that thou shalt not do it. Please do not do it. No, you can't do it. That's how the laws that are when we say nature, natural laws, man-made laws are rules. That's why they can change them all the time. They can change them laws all the time. What them call it? Them do what the word name when they mess with it, Chris? When them do the law, amend it. When they amend the law. Yeah, if it was a law, them couldn't amend it. You can't amend the law of gravity. Go try to amend it. You can't amend the law of sowing and reaping. You cannot. It's not thou shalt not. Thou canst not. So that's the warning. Be not deceived. The law is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, to come with a positive statement now. This is a positive statement it's making now. Whatsoever you sow, you shall reap. That's it.
But you saw, what do you call it now? You saw, what do you call it? Grass is gonna grow, but if you sow weed, it's gonna grow also. The ground does not care if it's weed or grass. The ground's job is to manifest or give back what you first gave it. The ground is the mirror, the subconscious mind. Only reproduce what you first produced. What
That's
you
it, man. The mirror. A mirror is your most faithful friend. The mirror in your house. The mirror will never deceive you. The mirror ain't playing no games with you. Simply is. Here and now, present. That you look like here and now. You don't like what you look like. Me don't know, me not here. That's what you look like. Your husband will lie to you until you look fine. And your daughter will tell us say you do look whichever you might say your beard look nice and it not great. I tell us say you look whatever. Your people will lie to you. The mirror is gonna tell you exactly what it is. When it look nice, the mirror is gonna tell it look nice. Thou canst not trick the mirror. It's not thou shalt not.
yeah, I like that certain. You cannot trick the mirror. Or in other words, you cannot put on a red top and think the mirror is going to show you blue. It will never work. It has to reflect back what you're actually wearing. And it's the same thing with your consciousness. Whatever you are wearing or whatever you're being in consciousness, that said thing must manifest and reflect back to you what it is that you are being. It cannot lie to you. It's a seed, and within the seed is the thing that you have created. You understand? And the ground with the physical is the same. The mustard seed, the orange seed, the guinea seed, the mango seed, everything have within it what it already is. And you cannot plant one and get another. It can only give back what's in the seed, you know? And the ground cannot say, I'm not going to grow grass, or I'm not going to grow weed. I'm only going to grow flowers. I'm only going to grow a mango tree. No, the ground has no authority to do such thing. It's the law is what it is, and it has to abide by the law. Cannot, as I said, authority amend its own law. It is what it is.
So, Chris, that's why you see the fallacy of when if you thought to you that there is a being existing somewhere named God who is making decisions, that means it's thinking. The law cannot think. If the law thinks, it becomes impartial. You notice the soil does not think, it does not reason. You notice the law, the natural laws that we talk, the mirror. You notice the mirror does not think, the mirror reacts in real time. The mirror does not think. The mirror does not reason with you. The mirror simply is. It's impartial, totally.
Just
If there's a if there's a thinking God out there, he would be so partial. It would be so partial because it's making decisions based on emotions. That's how we make decisions. You know? We are thinking beings and we make decisions based on emotions. So that's what that being would be there doing. That being would be thinking and making decisions based on emotions. Have you ever seen anything more partial than that? So that being would not be an impartial God. The mirror is impartial. The soil is impartial. The soil does not care who plants it, whether it is the richest man in the world or the peasant who is suffering. It is simply going to produce what it feels. It feels the seed to be a mustard seed, which is the smallest seed, and it make that mustard seed grow bigger than a moon. Because the fate of the mustard seed knows itself to be nothing except a mustard seed. So the mustard seed becomes nothing except a mustard tree. That's the fate of the mustard seed. If you have faith as a mustard seed, which is the smallest of seed, yeah, what the mustard seed only knows itself to be a mustard seed. And that's why it cannot become nothing other than a mustard tree. Whatever you know yourself to be, you cannot be anything other than that. The good thing about you, rather than the mustard seed will remain a mustard seed because the mustard seed cannot think. You can think. So you can become aware of yourself in another light other than what you're seeing yourself in right now. And that too becomes a seed. And if you plant it and it is felt and you operate the field, for it to be felt, you have to feel. Let me say it again. When you plant that new concept of yourself, for it to be felt by the giver, which is the subconscious world, for it to be felt, you have to feel. You have to feel what? You have to feel the way you will feel when all of that is manifested. And you have to feel like that here and now. Your savior is in the middle, the savior in the middle, Mr. Here and now. No if in or but it about it, and not wondering how or when it's going to happen. You have to conceive yourself with that feeling. You have to impregnate, conceive yourself with that feeling of what it feels like to see yourself in that world. Feeling in terms of both emotion and feeling in terms of touch. You have to lose. Remember, I told you when you're in a dream, you lose your body. The body that you're experiencing, it is not real. Your real body is left in this physical, natural world because this is where the manifestation is going to take place. And remember, I told you that in the world of dream, if you happen to touch something, that means your body has now been activated. You come right back to the natural world. So it is when you're imagining You have to physically touch something over there. And the minute you touch, it has been planted. You're back to the natural world. The minute you touch, the moment you touch, if you're fast asleep and you dream that you punch somebody and you swing your arm and your arm connect either in your spouse on the bed beside you or in the wall. But the minute your hand connects, you back to this natural world. You wake up because now your natural body is back in play. So it is when you plant that seed, the minute you feel in terms of emotionally, you feel the joy, you feel the emotion that you will feel when the word thing manifests. You feel all of that, and you physically feel yourself, whether it be embracing someone or whatever will happen in your world when that comes through. The minute you feel that and you feel it as well, full circle, now the thing has been manifested, you wake up and you have conceived it. It's now pregnant, it's in the pregnancy stage, and just like all pregnancies take some time to come forth, it will take some kind of time to come forth, even though it was planted in the here and now. When the man get the woman pregnant, he can't go get her pregnant again. That happened in one moment, here and now. And it has been conceived, and it will take time to come through, but it has been conceived. And you cannot unconceive her now. You can't unconceive her because even if that pregnancy is terminated, whether willfully or accidentally, that the fact remains that that pregnancy was conceived. You can never change that. So it is when you plant a seed and it has been felt, connected.
Everything is relative, certainty.
Everything is relative.
Everything's relative. Explain it using awareness, um, using physiology, using physicality, the earth, the ground, the seed. All these different things are correlated. They're just different examples of the one thing, consciousness. And it works whether you are aware of it or not. But when you are aware of it, it's so important. I had an epiphany the other day. I was driving on the road, and I'm just, you know, looking at all the other cars. And, when you're driving somewhere, some people are just like in their own world, and they're really slowed up traffic and whatnot. And then you have some people who are, you can tell they know where they're going. They're just, or they have somewhere to be, and they're in and out of traffic. Then you could tell somebody who's not from here, maybe they were in a different tag on the car, and they're using GPS. They don't know where they're going. They're just following the GPS, but they can't drive too confidently because they might miss the turn and whatnot. And so as I'm there watching this thing, I'm realizing that here I am conscious, I am present, I'm in my car driving, and where I'm driving to, I know where I'm going. I know the destination, I know the area, I know everything. And I started to relate the road to your consciousness, you know, um, that we are all on it, meaning that we all have it, the same consciousness. The difference is how you're using it. Some people know where they're going, like myself, and some people don't. And some people just, just nonchalant, just in their own world, um, and whatnot. But I realized that if you know where you're going, you're going to drive at a speed that you decided to drive at, and you're going to be in total control. Hey, I decided to get there in 30 minutes. I'm gonna get there in 30 minutes. I know exactly how fast I have to drive. I know where the lights are, the intersections. I know all these things. I'm very aware. of how this road consciousness works. And those people use it um, with the utmost confidence and get to where they're going to get to at a specific time or a decided time and whatnot. Meanwhile, the persons who are from out of state, they're using GPS, they're just hoping that they get there on time because they don't know where they're going. Traffic is in the way, and the stoplights and the stop signs and all these different things are there. They don't know where they are. They are on the same path or just using the same awareness, but they're just using it, um, you know, just because they don't have anything else to use. It is what it is. But they have to. They're only using it based on what conditions they're facing. They don't know how to condition it themselves. They're just going by the condition that's presented to them. Maybe that, like, doubts and fear and if and buts and where and when, all these things are presented to them. They don't know how to navigate their consciousness to get around that. But the person who knows where they're going knows how to navigate through all that stuff. If there's a traffic jam, they know, okay, let me turn off on this side street, or let me make a U-turn and try it another direction. So knowing how your consciousness works for you better than when you're just on it, because there's no other way to navigate throughout this world. You're always using your consciousness, but you're operating in ignorance and hoping that you get to where you desire to get to or hope to get to. You're using hope and, if and we're going to see and maybe if it's God's will, all these different things you're using, on the same road that somebody is very confidently using. It's not a different road. Everybody's on the same road, but you're driving with precision, with purpose. It doesn't matter who's in your way. You're going to find a way to zigzag, navigate, and go through and leave everybody else behind who are just if and butting and guessing how they're going to get where they're going to get where they want to get. And it's so I realized at that moment that this is exactly how people everywhere, you can see the difference in their experiences, how they've been using their consciousness, and they don't know how they got to where they got to, not realizing that they're using the same power that you're using. The problem is they don't know how to use it correctly. And so when something presents you or confronts you, you're wondering, how did this happen? You're going somewhere, you're wondering, how did we get here? The navigation said, whatever. How did we get here? Because you don't know. You're just guessing or hoping or leaving it to a power outside of yourself, outside of your control. And whatever happens, happens. So, and as you can see, the road is designed to do whatever you choose for it to do. You can turn right or left, you can make a U-turn, you can exit here, exit there. It gives you options. But if you are not aware of those options or where they go, you will not use them. So this is why we come here every week, to get to know ourselves better. There are so many different levels. We're only scratching the scratch of the surface. We have not even gone below the surface. We're just scratching the scratch of the surface, because there are so many different layers on how to become familiar with what you have forgotten. Because all it is a lack of memory. We're going through a remembrance, becoming more reacquainted. What does that mean? We were already acquainted with it, but we lost that acquaintance with our consciousness. And now we're becoming reacquainted, realigned. Okay? And the only way to do that, to demonstrate again, when you're driving somewhere, if you drive that same route often enough, you no longer need to remember how to get there. You now know how to get there because you have become familiar with the route. You no longer think, you just do. You only think when you don't know what you're doing. But when you know, you only do. There's no thinking involved. That's where we want to get to. No thoughts, just do, because we already know. 13. Any final words? Maybe 13 got
Yes,
busy.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, man. As you rightfully explained right here at the end, when I get to a point where you're almost an autopilot with this thing, you're almost an autopilot. It just becomes who you are. It's no longer something, as you say, you're not even thinking of it anymore. It just becomes who you are naturally. You don't if and but about it. You don't worry about no here, no when and how of it. It's just simply what you do. And that's when you really start to feel the joy of it. You start to be joyful with all of it because you realize there's nothing stressful, there's nothing to really stress about. You just start enjoying it, which is where we want to get to. So circle is where we are, 12:30. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna be on my way. I'm gonna be on my way shortly. So you know, thanks again to everybody for being here. And next Sunday we continue. As a matter of fact, we continue every day.
Sunday is just our concentrated day where we commune together and bring all the minds to go be more aware and determined and absorb all the knowledge to empower our minds even more, you know? And as we continue to do it, we gain confidence. Confidence is something that you have to gain. It's not something that you are born with. It's something that you have to align yourself with, you know? It's something that you have to become. And it doesn't matter how confident you become, you're going to have moments where you're you know, having some reservations and here and there. Just know that it is the conscious mind that's doing that. It's not you. Okay? That's just the mind, the ego, who's always asking how. Okay? It's not a bad thing, as I've come to know. When it's asking you how, it's just what you have to go through first to get to the know-how. Okay? When I ask you how, is there something you have to go through to get to the know-how? You have to know how it's going to happen, but you have to first get through these doubts, these questions. It's like the dirt that's on top of the diamond or on top of the jewel, the treasure. The treasure is always hidden. And everything above it is the questions asking you, well, how, where, when, if, but. Just don't grab onto those. Those are not the treasure. They're just there because they have to be there, or else you wouldn't encounter them. Okay. And furthermore, it is to see if you really deserve it, how serious you are. Somebody who knows how diamonds work or gold work and all that type of stuff would not be deterred when they enter any issues. They will know who to consult to continue the excavation. Okay, because they know that these things happen when you're searching for a treasure. There are going to be obstacles. It's not going to be easy. Okay, that's just how it is. But you have the power to overcome that. Okay, and all you have to do is initiate it, Give it the task and let it do the job. You will be inspired, as Never said, to act at the right time, the right place, and the right precision. The right people will come to you. You meet the right people, you will end up in the right place. Don't worry about where, when, and how, or if. It's already finished. You just have to, you know, be faithful to your assumption, to your imagination that knows more than you can ever imagine, you know, and hold on. And it will take you there to that place that you desire, okay? But you have to do everything that you desire. No, all the power is in the no, right now. No is the appointed time, all right? And so that being said, my friends, 12:30, we're going to close it out. Happy to see you guys here. And we will reconvene again next week, Sunday. I think it's going to be the 23rd. Is it already? Wow. Month finish. But we're not finished. We're just getting started. All right. Love you guys. More power to you all. Blessings. Always. Over and out.